Hello dear students, welcome to the course of Engineering Thermodynamics. Myself Mihir Mistry, Assistant Professor from Mechanical Department of LJ Institute of Engineering and Technology. So today we are going to discuss chapter entropy. So entropy chapter basically consists of Clausius theorem, then inequality of Clausius, entropy is a property, principle of increase of entropy, entropy concept applied to irreversible process and other applications. So let us discuss the first topic, that is Clausius theorem. So for understanding the Clausius theorem, we will consider the diagram shown on the screen. As you can see, on the y-axis we have pressure and on the x-axis we have volume. Initially, let us consider we are starting from point number I, that is initial state I, and we are starting from I, initial state I, and we are moving to final state F, that is denoted by F point. And from I to F we are following a reversible path, IF. Okay. Now what we will do, simple. From point number I we will draw a reversible adiabatic line, that is inclined line. You can see that on the drawing. And also we will draw another reversible adiabatic line from point number F, that is also inclined line. And we will draw a reversible isothermal line that will cut this both reversible adiabatic line such that it will create IABF line such that the area under IABF line will be equivalent to the area under IF line. Okay students, very easy to understand. I am repeating again. We are drawing two reversible adiabatics, that is IA and BF, right? And we are cutting that two reversible adiabatics by a single reversible isothermal such that area under IABF will be equivalent to area under IF. And you know that if you draw PV diagram, and on the PV diagram if you draw any curvature, take area under that curvature will give you work transfer during that particular process. So that means here the work transfer related to IF process will be equivalent to the work transfer related to IABF process. Simple, clear? Okay. So now what we will do? Simple, we will apply the first law of thermodynamics for the process I to F. Here remember one thing, all processes that are shown are reversible. Okay. So first I am referring the process I to F, that is drawn by inclined curvature line. Okay, so IF, apply first law, simple. So heat transfer QIF will be equivalent to UF minus UI, that is the difference between internal energy, right, plus work transfer during that process, that is WIF. Okay, same way, let us apply the first law of thermodynamics to IABF process. So IABF process, QIABF will be equal to UF minus UI, because ultimately the endpoints are UF and UI, and you know that internal energy is a property and property depends on the point function. Okay, so that is why UF minus UI plus work done, that is WIABF. Clear? Okay. Now here we know that area under IABF is equivalent to area under IF. That is why you can write WIF is equal to WIABF. Simple students. Okay, now that is why if you observe the above two equations, in the above two equations observe the right hand side. So you have WIF and WIABF as same, and also UF minus UI will be same. So that means you can compare the left hand side of these two equations, first two equations, right? So what are the left hand sides? Simple, QIF is equal to QIABF. Okay, now what I will do? I will divide this heat transfer IABF into segments. Okay, so let us do that on the right hand side of the equation. So you can write QIF is equal to, now QIABF is consisting of three processes. See, first is IA, that is reversible adiabatic. Second is AB, that is reversible isothermal. Then third is BF, that is again reversible adiabatic. Okay, so I can write QIF is equal to QIA plus QAB plus QBF. Right, now here you will appreciate students that IA and BF is nothing but reversible adiabatic process. So for reversible adiabatic process, you can say that heat transfer during that process will be equivalent to 0. So that is why I can write QIF is equal to 0, sorry, QIA is equal to 0 and QBF is equal to 0. Right? So substitute that in the above equation. So I will have the equation for heat transfer as QIF is equivalent to QAB. Now what is the meaning of this sentence? Very simple. The meaning of this sentence is very simple, that if you replace any reversible process by combination of three processes, that is two reversible adiabatic and one isothermal process, reversible isothermal process, then the heat transfer during isothermal process will be equivalent to the heat transfer during original process. Okay, so that is the meaning of this sentence. I am repeating again. If you replace any reversible process by combination of two reversible adiabatic and one isothermal, reversible isothermal, then heat transfer during that reversible isothermal process will be equivalent to the heat transfer during the original process. Okay, so now let us move further. Here what I will do, now I have, let us consider the PV diagram as shown over here. In this PV diagram I am drawing a whole cycle. Okay, and now what I will do, I am dividing this whole cycle by small strips. Okay, so I am drawing reversible adiabatic lines like this. Okay, so if I will draw multiple reversible adiabatic lines, then I will be able to divide this whole cycle into small strips. Okay, so now what I will do, observe over here, observe the first two strips. Okay, so I will cut the top strip, top two parallel strip of reversible adiabatic lines with a reversible constant temperature or reversible isothermal process. Same way I will do that procedure for the bottom side also. So I hope you can see that the top side is written by AB. See, two lines are going like this and we are cutting the two reversible adiabatic by reversible isothermal. So that is denoted as A and B. Same way for bottom part you can write C and D as the nomenclature. Okay, so if you do so for whole cycle, then you will have zigzag like portion, right? Toothed zigzag like fashion. And if you have divided this whole cycle in many number of reversible adiabatic strips, then your toothed zigzag cycle will coincide with the original closed cycle. Okay, remember students, this original closed cycle is reversible cycle. Okay, so that is what you have to keep in mind. Now, sir, what do you want to convey? The message for conveying is that you can replace a particular cycle by combination of reversible adiabatic processes and reversible isothermal processes. Okay, that is the main agenda of conveying the diagram. Okay, so now here if you observe, then we have A, B, C, D. A, B, C, D, that will constitute nothing but a Carnot cycle. Sir, how Carnot cycle? Recall what were the processes associated with Carnot cycle. The processes that were associated with the Carnot cycle was, see, you remember and recall the TS diagram. So if you recall, the TS diagram was square for the Carnot cycle. So from square you can appreciate that two processes were reversible isothermal and two processes were reversible adiabatic or isentropic. So here also if you observe, then AB is reversible isothermal. Then B to C, that is reversible adiabatic. C to D is reversible isothermal. And D to A, that is reversible adiabatic. So that will constitute nothing but a Carnot cycle. So here you will have small Carnot cycles. Okay, and together if you combine all the cycles, then it will constitute the original reversible cycle. Okay, so that is how you can understand the interpretation of this diagram. Clear? Now let us consider that corresponding to AB, the temperature is T1 and corresponding to CD, the temperature is T2. So whatever amount of small heat transfer is taking place at T1 temperature, that is denoted by dQ1, and whatever amount of small heat transfer is taking place at T2 temperature, that is taken as dQ2, because you know that heat addition, Carnot cycle, observe and recall Carnot cycle, that is heat addition, that is dQ1, heat rejection, that is dQ2, right? Okay, now So for elementary cycle A, B, C, D, what we can write? So for elementary cycle A, B, C, D, we can write, we know that for Carnot cycle, you can take heat transfer ratio and temperature transfer ratio as equal. So that is why I have written here dq1 by T1 is equal to dq2 by T2. Okay students, I hope you are clear up to this point. Now, if the heat supplied is taken as positive and heat rejected is taken as negative, so what we can write? We can write dq1 by T1, that is heat supplied, so we will take it as positive. Let us write plus, is equal to dq2 by T2, that will be negative. Now if I will take that negative on the other side of equal to sign, then it will become positive. So I have written the revised equation as dq1 by T1 plus dq2 by T2 is equivalent to 0. Clear students? I hope everyone is clear. We have just applied the sign convention for heat transfer. Okay, so similarly, I have only considered A, B, C, D cycle. Similarly, if you have number of strips, right? So let us consider the second strip. Okay, so second strip will be E, F, G, H. I hope you can observe the nomenclature on the diagram. E, F, G, H. Okay, so for that cycle, what I can write? So let us consider corresponding to E, F, if the temperature at the top side is T3, that is the source temperature is T3, and during that T3 temperature, if the heat supplied is dq3, and same way the corresponding to GH process, the temperature is, let us say, T4, and corresponding to that, if the heat transfer is dq4, then I can write dq3 by T3 plus dq4 by T4 is equivalent to 0. Okay, so that is how you can write for the elementary cycle EFGH. Now that means what, students? That means if I will combine all the cycles together, then I can write dq1 plus T1 plus dq2 plus T2 plus dq3 plus T2, T3 plus dq4 plus T4 plus so and so and so, right? So that will be equivalent to 0. So this equation will be as lengthy as you want to keep it as lengthy, because the more number of strips you will provide, the more lengthy your equation will become. Okay, so that means what the fundamental thing is, in general, if you want to write down this equation, then you can write down that cyclic integral of dq by T for a reversible cycle will be equal to 0. I am repeating again, cyclic integral of dq by T on any reversible cycle will be equivalent to 0, right? So what is the meaning of this? Meaning of this is very simple, students. If you take any closed reversible cycle, for that closed reversible cycle, dq by T, that are two quantities, heat transfer and constant temperature. So at constant temperature, if whatever heat transfer you will take, so summation of that for that whole cycle will be equivalent to 0. Okay, only for reversible cycle. Let us discuss the next topic, that is property of entropy. So in order to understand that, let us consider the diagram as shown on the screen. So as you can see over here, we have y-axis as pressure and x-axis as volume. On this, we have two paths, right, for the I and F end states, right? So if you follow R1 path, then you can go from I to F following the R1 path, right? That is reversible path 1. And if you follow R2 path, that is reversible path 2, you can go from F to I. So that's these two paths, R1 and R2, both are reversible, and they will constitute a reversible cycle. Okay, now here from Clausius theorem we know that integration of dq by T is equivalent to 0 for any cyclic process or any cycle, right? So here cycle is what? R1 and R2 both are constituting cycle. So that is why what I will write, cyclic integral. See the symbol integration, and you are drawing the circle at the center, so that represents cyclic integration of R1 and R2. So here R is written, so emphasis of R is written. That is what does it mean? Simple. It shows us that both paths are reversible, or the process is reversible. Okay, R stands for reversible. So cyclic integral of what? dq by T for R1 and R2 path will be equivalent to 0. That we know from the Clausius theorem. Okay, so here above integral can also be replaced as what? So here you can do the segment of this equation. So let us do the segment of this two. So for segment, what I will do? Simple. I will write R1 as separate and R2 as separate. So let us do that. So you know that following the R1 path, you can go from I to F. So integration of I to F dq by t for R1 path, plus following R2 path, you can go from F to I, right? So integration of F to I dq by t of path R2, that will be equivalent to 0. See students, the above equation and this equation both are same, but the second equation is written in the segment form, okay, individually for two different paths, okay. But here you can observe that since we have written the individual equation for different paths, we have removed the cyclic integral sign and we have only shown the simple integral sign, okay. So keep that thing in your mind. Now further also I can write, if I will take the one term R2 term as the on the right hand side of the equal to side, so what I can write, integration I to F dq by t for R1 path will be equivalent to minus integration F to I dq by t for the R2 path, okay. Now R2 is reversible path. Reversible means what? You can reverse the direction of that path. So what I will do now, instead of going from F to I, let me change the limit. So I will change the limit mathematically. So I can write I to F on the right hand side of dq by t following the R2 path. And you know from the mathematical rule that if you will change the limits of the integral sign, then the minus sign will be multiplied. So here already we were having minus sign, so minus minus we are having plus sign on the right hand side of the equation, okay. So that is the meaning of this two equation is what? The meaning of this two equation is that simple, we have dq by t quantity, and if you integrate this dq by t quantity for whole R1 path, so that will be equivalent to the same for R2 path. So that means we have something that is not dependent on the path followed. Okay students, I am repeating again, we have something that is not dependent on the path followed, because here you can easily see that for R1 path and for R2 path, for both paths the values are same. That means whatever value is there, that is dq by t, integration of dq by t, that thing is independent of the path. And you know that if it is independent of the path, then it is called as point function. And if it is point function, then you can call it as property. And that is why this integration of dq by t for path I to F, that is reversible path, that is nothing but change in entropy. Okay, so that change in entropy can be written as SF minus SI, where SF stands for entropy at final state and SI stands for entropy at initial state. So see, this dq by t or integration of dq by t for reversible path will give us what? It will give us the intermediate value or the change in the value of entropy between these 2 points, that is I and F. Okay, I hope everyone is clear. Okay, so that is how we can define. Now we have defined that something like entropy is existing. Okay, so now here you can appreciate students that SF minus SI is equal to dq by t. So generally the unit of dq is what? Joule. And unit of temperature is what? Kelvin. So that is why in entropy we will use the unit joule per Kelvin. Okay, and now if you want to write down specific entropy, see, this is extensive property students. Extensive property means what? Remember and recall the first lecture. Extensive property means the property which depends on the mass, that is known as extensive property. Okay, so now here if we will divide it by mass, then it will give us intensive property or it will give us specific entropy. So specific entropy is generally denoted by small s is equal to capital S divided by m. So S, capital S unit is already, you know, that joule per Kelvin divided by mass. So joule per kg Kelvin, and this same entropy you have used in the vapor cycle, vapor compression refrigeration cycle also. If you recall that table of Mollier diagram, then in that table we have the value of enthalpy also and entropy also. And in that entropy, we have the unit kilojoule per kg Kelvin. That is nothing but specific entropy. Okay, students? So today we are going up to this point. Thank you.